Hi guys, welcome back to Spelling and Word Study. My name is Mrs. Rhoades and I'm here today to get you started on Unit 9, Soft C Words. Please take a second to gather your materials. You'll need your orange book open to page 59. You'll also need some colorful pencils, markers, or crayons. Remember, whatever I mark up on the board, you should be marking on your page. Please save room for a key. If it doesn't fit on here, a separate sheet of paper is fine. If at any point I'm moving too fast, please feel free to pause the video and catch up. All right, so last week we talked about bossy E words. We found out that one of the most common ways to make a vowel say its name is to use the vowel, then a consonant, and then a silent E. That silent E jumps over the consonant and makes the vowel say its name. We're going to see a little bit of that this week, and we're also going to find out that bossy E has another purpose. Besides making a vowel say its name, it also has the power to make a C soft, which means instead of saying K, that letter C says S. Letter C only says S if it comes before the letters E, I, or Y, okay? As I read this list to you, I want you to listen for that soft C sound, that S, in each of the words, and I want you to pay attention to the letter that comes after it. It will either be an E, an I, or a Y, okay? So let's get started. Chance, dance, decide, device, excite, fancy, fence, glance, once, precise, prince, produce, recite, reduce, and since. Okay, hopefully you heard that S sound over and over again. All right, just as we always do, let's take a second to break our two-syllable words into chunks. So, chance and dance are each one syllable, so I'll leave them alone. Decide, I'll slice after the E. Device, after the E. Excite, between the X and the C. Fancy, after the N. Fence is one syllable. Glance is one syllable. And once is one syllable. Precise, after the E. Prince, one syllable. Produce, after the O. Recite, after the E. Reduce, after the E. And then since we'll leave alone. All right, in our key, purple line equals syllable break. Okay, one of the reasons I like marking up those syllable breaks is because it helps me find the prefixes. We're going to talk about those in a minute. But first, let's choose a color. And what I want you to do is I want you to underline the CE in chance and dance, in device and fence and glance, once, prince, produce, reduce, and since. Okay? All of the words I underlined have a CE. Okay, choose another color. And now we're going to look for CI. There it is in decide, excite, precise, and recite. All of these words contain a CI. And then choose one more color, and we're going to underline the CY in fancy. So orange equals CY. And what I want you to put right here is I want you to notice that anytime you have CE, CI, or CY, it will be a soft C, which means the C is saying S instead of K. We say that K is the hard C sound, but this week we're focusing on soft C. Okay? Now, I want to get back to that silent E. Okay? Last week we learned that silent E jumps over a consonant and makes the vowel say its name. We see that right here in decide. That E is making the I say its name. We also see it in precise. The E is making the I say its name. And we see it in produce. Okay? And I guess there's, I want to come back to that one in a second. Produce, recite, reduce. And I think I missed one. Excite, I missed a couple. And device. Okay, look at that. Decide, device, excite, precise, produce, recite, reduce. In each of those cases, we have silent E makes vowel long. Okay? But then we have silent E hanging out at the end of these other words. Well, what's its job? Because it is not making any vowels say their name. For instance, this E is not jumping over and making the A say its name, because we don't pronounce this chance, it's chance. So what is that E doing there? What is the E doing here in dance? It's not dance. This isn't fiends, right? So it turns out that this silent E has a different job. All it's doing here is it's softening the C. If we didn't have an E here, that would say chank. If we didn't have an E here, this would say dank. Okay? So the job of the silent E is to soften the C in chance, in dance, in fence, and in glance, in once, in prince, and in since. In all these words, that silent E softens C. It makes the C say S. Okay? But very quickly, I want you to notice that sometimes one silent E can do both jobs at the same time, because check it out with the word device. It's doing both. It's making the I say its name, and it's making the C soft. Same thing with produce. It's making the U say its name and the C soft. And same thing with reduce. Making the U long and the C say its name. Okay? So there's some new learning for you, right? Turns out silent E doesn't just make vowels say their name. It also has the power to soften a C, and in some words, it can do both jobs at the same time. All right, before we talk about the vocab, I do have a few prefixes that I want to review with you, okay? So we have talked before about the prefix X. We know that X means out, right? Like in exit or explode, exhale, right? In this word, excite, well, if somebody excites you or something excites you, it stirs you up. It brings all this energy out from you, right? So to excite means to bring out, let's just say bring out, there's that out, emotion, okay? It excites you. Another common prefix is re. Re can mean again, or it can mean to go back. So when you recite the Pledge of Allegiance, okay, that's something you already learned, and now you're going to go back and say it again and again and again. Each day you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. So to recite means to say again. Usually by heart. Usually we memorize a poem or a song or a promise, and then we recite it, okay? So to re anything can mean to do it again or to go back. To reduce something is to go back and make it smaller. So we see this in math class when we try to reduce fractions, right? Instead of having a fraction like 3/6, we reduce it to 1/2 and we go back and make those numbers smaller. But we can also reduce other things. If we feel like we've been wasting too much water lately, or we've been wasting too much food, we can go back and reduce the amounts we're using. We can go back and make them smaller. Okay, so X means out, re means again or back. Okay, so over here, green box equals prefix. Okay, very quickly before you go, let's make sure we know what our words mean. So chance, if you get a chance to do something, it means you get to a try, right? Like you get a chance to go down the slide. You get a try at it. I think you know what dance means, right? You move your body to music. When you decide, you pick something. You make a decision. A device is a little machine, like a cell phone or an iPad, right? Anything, any small electronics that you can hold in your hand are considered devices. We talked about excite. Fancy is the opposite of plain, right? So if you're going to a party, you're going to wear a fancy dress or a fancy shirt. So fancy, I'm just going to say, means not plain. A fence, well, maybe you've seen a picket fence, right? Maybe people have a picket fence around their yard. Sometimes people put up a metal fence because they don't want their dog to run into the street. So a fence is just kind of like a wall that you can build around a yard, around a swimming pool. You need a fence so that no little kids wander in and drown. A glance is a quick look. Okay, so when you're driving your car, you're supposed to keep your eyes on the road. You should not be glancing at your phone. You should be looking straight ahead. No quick looks or glances at other stuff. Once means one time. Precise means exact, okay? So if you are putting a new carpeting in your bedroom, you need the precise measurements. You can't just say, oh, get me a rug that's about 10 feet long. You need to measure the room to find out the precise length, the exact length. A prince is a member of royalty, so a king and a queen would have a prince for a son. To produce stuff means to make it. So at a farm, they might produce corn, they might produce wheat, they might produce milk. Cows produce milk on the farm, right? You go to a factory, they might produce cloth, they might produce cars. So when you produce stuff, you make it. We talked about recite. This means to say something again, usually by heart. To reduce means to make smaller. And then since is a word we use to describe, like, I've been teaching since I was 22. I've lived here since I got married, right? So since just tells you like how much, is a word we use before we tell you how much time has passed. I've been waiting for you since noon. All right, you guys are ready to start this unit. Good luck, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.